This is absolutely disgusting. What we witnessed on Smackdown wasn't wrestling, it was a calculated assault, a vicious attack that's left Jacob Fatu on an operating table fighting through what could be a career-altering injury. And let me tell you something right now, Drew McIntyre crossed a line that should never be crossed in this business. While Jacob Fatu is lying in a hospital bed preparing for surgery, Drew is walking around like he's some kind of hero. This is the kind of reckless, dangerous behavior that ruins careers, that destroys families, and that has no place in professional wrestling. If you're as furious about this as I am, let me know in the comments right now. Tell me, was Drew McIntyre's attack justified, or did he go way too far? Because from where I'm standing, this wasn't competition. This was attempted murder. Jacob Fatu, one of the most dominant forces in WWE today, the Samoan werewolf himself, is now facing an uncertain future because of one man's uncontrollable rage. The surgery he's undergone isn't some minor procedure, we're talking about serious damage that required immediate medical intervention. And the question everyone should be asking is, where does WWE draw the line? When does intense competition become criminal assault? Let me take you back to what happened on Smackdown, because if you missed it, you need to understand the full scope of this brutal attack. The show was already electric, tensions were running high, and Jacob Fatu was scheduled for a segment that was supposed to build toward his next major storyline. But Drew McIntyre had other plans. The Scottish Warrior, who's been on an absolute rampage lately, has been taking out anyone who stands in his way with zero regard for their safety or well-being. When Drew's music hit and he stormed down that ramp with nothing but violence in his eyes, you could feel the entire arena shift. This wasn't a scheduled match. This wasn't a confrontation approved by management. This was Drew McIntyre going rogue and hunting his prey. Jacob Fatu, to his credit, didn't back down. The Samoan werewolf has never backed down from anyone, and he wasn't about to start with Drew McIntyre. But what started as a heated face-off quickly spiraled into something far more sinister. Drew struck first with a vicious claymore kick that came out of nowhere. Jacob was barely able to process what was happening before he hit the mat. But Drew didn't stop there. Oh no, he was just getting started. What followed was a systematic dismantling of Jacob Fatu that made even the hardest wrestling fans uncomfortable. Steel chair shots to the back, to the ribs, to the legs. Drew used that chair like it was a medieval weapon, and Jacob's body absorbed punishment that no human being should have to endure. Here's a trivia question for you. How many times has Drew McIntyre used the Claymore kick as a surprise attack in the past 6 months? Drop your answer in the comments. The referees rushed out to stop it. Security tried to intervene. But Drew McIntyre was in a zone, a dark, twisted zone where nothing else mattered except inflicting maximum damage on Jacob Fatu. He threw security guards aside like they were children. He shoved referees out of the way. And then came the moment that made my blood run cold. Drew grabbed Jacob, hoisted him up, and delivered a claymore kick directly onto a steel chair that was positioned against the ring post. The sound of impact echoed through the arena like a gunshot. Jacob's body went limp. The crowd went silent. Even Drew seemed to realize, for just a moment, that he might have gone too far. But instead of showing remorse, instead of checking on his opponent, Drew simply stood over Jacob's motionless body, arms raised in triumph, as if he'd just won the WWE Championship. The medical team rushed out immediately. Jacob wasn't moving. The stretcher was brought out, and as they carefully loaded him onto it, you could see the concern on everyone's faces. This wasn't a work. This wasn't storyline selling. This was real injury, real pain, and real fear about what damage had been done. Backstage reports started flooding in within hours. Jacob Fatu had been rushed to a local medical facility where doctors immediately began running tests. The initial diagnosis was worse than anyone expected. Significant damage to his ribs, potential internal injuries, and most concerning of all, damage to his knee that required immediate surgical intervention. The surgery was performed overnight, and while we're told it was successful, the recovery timeline is still unknown. We're talking about weeks, possibly months on the sidelines for one of WWE's most explosive performers. We have a quick request for you. We are constantly working to improve our content to earn your love and support. That's why we would truly appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update here on Wrestling Zone Insider. Now let's talk about the bigger picture here, because this incident raises serious questions about wrestler safety in WWE. Jacob Fatu is part of a legendary Samoan wrestling dynasty. His family has given everything to this business. And now, because of one man's inability to control his aggression, Jacob's career hangs in the balance. His family is worried. His teammates are furious. And the entire WWE locker room is reportedly in an uproar over what happened. The Bloodline faction, which Jacob is aligned with, has issued statements demanding consequences for Drew McIntyre. Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and others have made it clear that this attack will not go unanswered. But statements and threats don't undo the damage that's been done. They don't speed up Jacob's recovery. They don't guarantee he'll ever be the same wrestler again. Some injuries change everything. Some injuries end careers, and right now we're all hoping and praying that this isn't one of those situations. Let me ask you another question, and I really want to hear your thoughts on this. Should Drew McIntyre be suspended or even fired for this attack? Comment below with your honest opinion. The wrestling community has rallied around Jacob Fatu in an incredible show of support. Social media has exploded with messages from wrestlers past and present, all sending their love and prayers to the Samoan werewolf. Fans have started hashtags. Prayer circles have been organized, because at the end of the day, this is bigger than storylines and championships. This is about a human being whose life and career have been put at risk. Drew McIntyre, for his part, has shown absolutely no remorse. In a brief statement to WWE media, he essentially said that if you step into his world, you'd better be prepared for the consequences. He called Jacob Fatu collateral damage in his war against everyone who's wronged him. That kind of attitude is not only dangerous, it's psychotic. This isn't the Drew McIntyre we used to know, the fighting champion who represented honor and strength. This is a man who's lost himself completely to anger and violence. WWE management is reportedly in crisis mode behind the scenes. There are discussions about potential suspensions, fines, and even legal ramifications. Some insiders are suggesting that Drew could face charges outside of WWE if Jacob or his family decide to pursue legal action. And honestly, they'd have every right to do so. What happened on Smackdown went beyond the bounds of professional wrestling. It was assault, plain and simple, broadcast to millions of viewers worldwide. The injury to Jacob Fatu also throws a massive wrench into WWE's upcoming plans. He was scheduled for major matches at upcoming premium live events. Storylines have to be rewritten. Opponents have to be reassigned. The creative team is scrambling to figure out how to write Jacob off television in a way that makes sense, while also building toward an inevitable confrontation between the Bloodline and Drew McIntyre when Jacob returns, if he returns at full capacity. Here's what we know about the surgery itself. Orthopedic specialists performed a procedure to repair damage to Jacob's knee joint. The exact nature of the injury hasn't been fully disclosed, but sources close to the situation have indicated it involved both ligament damage and potential cartilage issues. That combination is particularly troubling for a performer whose style relies heavily on explosive power and aerial maneuvers. The recovery process will be extensive, involving physical therapy, strength training, and careful monitoring before he's cleared to return to the ring. Final trivia question: what was the name of the last major WWE storyline that involved a real injury being written into the plot? Let us know in the comments. The wrestling world is united in one message right now. Pray for Jacob Fatu. Pray for his recovery, pray for his family, and pray that he can overcome this setback and return to doing what he loves. Jacob Fatu is a warrior, a fighter, and a testament to the incredible legacy of Samoan wrestling excellence. He will fight through this, just like his family has fought through every challenge they've faced in this business. But let's not lose sight of the real issue here. Drew McIntyre's actions were inexcusable, dangerous, and potentially career-ending for another performer. This cannot become the new normal in WWE. There must be consequences, there must be accountability, and there must be a clear message sent that this kind of reckless violence will not be tolerated, regardless of how popular or valuable the performer might be. As we wait for updates on Jacob's condition and recovery timeline, Wrestling Zone Insider will continue to bring you the latest news and information. We'll be monitoring his progress, tracking any disciplinary action against Drew McIntyre, and keeping you informed about how this situation impacts WWE's upcoming storylines and events. This is a developing story that has the entire wrestling world's attention, and we'll be here every step of the way to keep you updated. Send your prayers, your positive energy, and your support to Jacob Fatu. Drop a comment below telling him you're in his corner. Share this video so more people know what happened and can add their voices to the chorus of support. And most importantly, let WWE know that we as fans demand better protection for our performers and real consequences for those who cross the line. Stay strong, Jacob. The wrestling world is behind you.